Alright, I was gonna save this video for tomorrow, with tomorrow being my 15-year anniversary on YouTube. But since I didn't do a video yesterday, because I was at a convention for a day and I totally spaced on doing a video yesterday or Thursday night, so I could have one Friday. I do apologize for that, but for this one, it's gonna be just me talking about 15 years on YouTube and what it's meant to me and just how lucky I am to be where I am today because of YouTube. And honestly, I know this sounds super cliche, but there's a lot of good that has come out of me doing YouTube for the past 15 years. And I'm just going to talk about that and talk about the origins of the channel and starting from handheldgamefan all the way to now, and kind of summarize why I changed everything and why I've kind of taken a little bit of a different look to my channel now than in the past. So sit back, relax, roll with me as we kind of journey through my 15 years on YouTube. I can't believe I'm saying that. That's a crazy amount of time to be doing YouTube, guys, but it's nuts. It's crazy. But anyway, let's get into it here. So starting out, I did do YouTube a little bit back in the early days of YouTube with my first account, Super Metroid Lover, and that was just, I made it that because I was playing through Super Metroid again at the time, and I was really enjoying it, so that's why that popped in my head. So that's what I called myself. I don't remember what videos I put up at first, but I do remember the videos that got me um, taken down from YouTube. There were a bunch of like Adult Swim songs from like Moral Oral and Robot Chicken, and then I believe the Nintendo DS R4 flash card, because I was really descriptive on how to like put ROMs on the SD card or where to get the ROMs from, like an idiot. Because back then I didn't realize like copyright law and stuff like that. So I basically torpedoed that channel pretty early on. Like it didn't really have any legs to stand on. So yeah, that was kind of a short-lived thing. I think my very last video I did on that channel was the Castlevania Symphony of the Night Tiger Electronic handheld game. I think that was the very last video I ever did. And the first video I filmed with my wife or girlfriend at the time. So for a while I was just like, okay, screw it. I just won't have a YouTube account or a YouTube channel, whatever. I didn't care. I was just like, whatever. And then when I graduated high school, and my wife and I, well, I'm just gonna call her my wife because we've known each other since high school and we've been together since then. So my wife was like living at her grandma's place, and it just struck me one day. I'm like, you know what? I want to do YouTube again. So I created the account on I think it was the 19th or something like that. And then like a couple of days later, I remember I called her up. I was like, "Hey, do you want to help me start filming handle game videos again?" And she's just like, "I thought you were done with that." I'm like, "No, I just kind of want to do it again. We'll just do a couple, see how good it does, see if I like doing it. If I like doing it, we'll do more." So she came over for like a few hours. We filmed a couple videos, and my very first video was Castlevania Symphony of the Night, an electronic game, which is very hard to see because the camera we were using at the time was very shitty. I do apologize for that, but it is what it is. Sign of the times, you know. I didn't really have a bunch of equipment at the time. I still don't. I'm very minimalistic with how I do YouTube. I'm sure a lot of you guys realize that at this point, that I'm very minimalistic when it comes to YouTube, just because of the amount of equipment I have, the amount of funds I have, stuff like that. It's just very difficult for me to do the typical professional-esque setup with YouTube, and because of my disability. But we'll get into that in a little bit. So I started noticing people watching and commenting, and I was like, okay, people were kind of responding to it. So we did more, and we kept doing more and more and more. And over the years, it never went like super crazy, but I got a few hundred views. A couple might have hit like 1,000. But then I had the idea to just start randomly putting up video game music from Wolfenstein 3D. And for some reason, that's what really kind of put my channel like on people's radar. Is because I did a lot of work to those. Because what I did was I recorded every track that was in the jukebox section of Wolfenstein, which took probably a couple hours, and then I would go through and edit it and make the songs sound good, remove all the like background noise and stuff like that from like just recording raw recordings, stuff like that. So, and people seem to really like resonate with those because Wolfenstein 3D was a classic DOS game, classic PC game, so that's what kind of got me on the map. But I didn't want to be known for that, so I just kept doing the handle game stuff for years and years and years. And then the van breaking down hit in like 2017, 2018, something like that. And then a family friend of ours started the GoFundMe. And that's when my wife had the idea of, why don't we do a live stream talking about the GoFundMe and just see what happens with it. And I was like, I can't really do a live stream on my phone because the phone I had at the time, it had like a really old version of Android or whatever. So I was like, well, how are we going to do it? And it was just like, I have a tablet that has like the most recent version of Android, and we can just log into your stuff on there and use the tablet. So that's what we did. Okay, sorry, my dog was being stupid again. Anyway, like I was saying, so my wife had the tablet, and she was like, well, let's log into your stuff and just do it on that. So I was like, all right, whatever. And this is one thing I miss about like YouTube. I miss live streaming a lot, but I don't have a proper setup to really do proper live streams that people really want to enjoy and engage in. So that's why I don't do live streams that much anymore, because I just don't have a good setup. I'm hoping someday I will, but not right now. It's not feasible, and I'll get to why at the end of the video when we get to that point. So we did the live stream, and we were getting steady donations and stuff like that. And you guys can watch the stream too if you guys want to like watch it. It's still up. I left every GoFundMe related video up on the channel, so you guys can easily go watch it if you want to like go back in time and see what kind of impact that had on us and me in general. So we got a couple big donations. One in particular, I think it was like for like $3,000 or something like that from some guy. I forget his name. I think his name was like Justin or something. And that put us over the amount we were asking, which is like, I think it was like 10 grand or something like that. I can't remember exactly the amount. But then it just started to balloon, and it eventually got to like $42,000. And I remember when it hit that amount, my parents and, well, it was mainly my parents. They were I overheard them talking like, what are we gonna do with the money since the van's getting fixed for free? Because it did get fixed for free, but the fix only lasted like a year and a half, because of the van just not being built to be a wheelchair van. I mentioned this in the Easy Light Cruiser video. If you guys want to watch that to get a full breakdown of like why the van was kind of poopy, uh, watch that video. But so yeah, I heard them talking. I'm like, Mom and Dad, we can't use the money for anything else but what we've said on the GoFundMe. And they're like, yeah, but $42,000 isn't enough to get a wheelchair van, let alone a used one. And I'm like, well, we have to be transparent then. And they're like, well, we don't want to be too transparent because we don't want people to be like mad at us. I'm like, I'd rather people be mad at us than us not tell people what we're actually doing with the money. Because at the time, I didn't realize how bad, like, our financial situation as a family was. It was pretty bad from what my dad has explained to me. I don't know how bad it got, but it got pretty bad to where like my dad was super stressed and like he even told me he almost got to the point of like thinking about ways to like get money from like life insurance. That I'm gonna put that as cleanly as possible. But he said he would never have done that, but he thought about it. And I'm like, Jesus Christ. I did not even know you thought like when it got that dark for my parents. And that's why I told him the other day when we were talking like couple weeks ago, almost a month ago, when I had the little mental breakdown I had, and I'll get to that in a second. Why that happened, and why it was kind of an epiphany moment for me as well. But I didn't know that at the time. I didn't know that till just recently. So I was kind of mad at my parents for not being very upfront with me and what they were doing with the money because I couldn't relay information to people. So there were camps of people that thought we were like stealing money and using the money for like things that weren't important and just buying, basically wasting the money. And I had to deal with it. It was a lot to deal with it, and it was very stressful. It was a very stressful time in my life, and it was a very good time too. It was a weird dichotomy of like stress and goodness. And my wife had broken her foot at that point too. She had fallen down the stairs, broke her foot, and we did use some of the money for that because my wife didn't have health insurance at the time. So that I did know about, and that I did tell people about, and most everybody didn't. No, I don't think anybody cared when I said that because they're like, "Oh, well, your wife doesn't have health insurance. Okay, that's fine. That's a medical thing, just like the wheelchair man kind of was, in a way." So yeah, that was a whole big thing, and then my channel kind of blew up a little bit. It only got to like 25,000 subs at most. But then, like, after that, it, like, dropped down to, like, 12,000. Like, I lost a ton of subs. And that's when I started to have panic attacks. Like, severe panic attacks. Like, I didn't even want to like, leave the house. I was having panic attacks so bad. Because I was so stressed about what to do with YouTube and how to keep the, like, hype train going. But it never seemed to, like, no matter what I did, it never seemed to like nothing I did caught on with anybody. Basically, is what I'm trying to say. And for a while, that messed me up for years and years. I feel like that held me back with YouTube. That's the way I viewed the channel as like no matter what I do, it's not going to get viewed because people don't care and YouTube's algorithm doesn't care. And I lost monetization at that point anyway. So I really started not caring because when I got monetized, that kind of motivated me to like treat it like a job because I was like getting paid basically pennies, basically, but it was still money. I was still making money like every like year and a half or so. I'd get like $100-ish from Google AdSense. So at least I was making a little bit of money. Very, very little. And that's around the time I also found out about Patreon. I didn't even know what Patreon was. I had no idea. And I still don't know why people still support me to this day on Patreon. I really do appreciate you guys, but I really have to work on what kind of stuff I do for you guys on Patreon and just give back to you guys more. I gotta figure out something I can do for you guys to make it more worth your guys' while to support me. I appreciate the support, guys. Trust me. It has helped out way more than any of you will ever know. With my collecting, with getting stuff for video purposes, getting this microphone, getting this webcam, that was all Patreon supported purchases. So you guys have really helped out the channel and kept the channel alive, and I really do appreciate that. So I don't want to sound like I'm being an unappreciative dick, because I'm not. I really do appreciate what you guys have done for me over the years I've had Patreon. But that's the thing, like, I didn't know there was a thing. And I was like, yeah, people aren't going to do that. But a lot of people did. Like, I had a lot of support early on. And then people probably dropped off because of financial reasons, or they just didn't find my stuff viable, or didn't like what I was doing, or whatever. Whatever their choice was, why they stopped supporting, that's their choice. I don't care. That's you. You do you. I understand. Trust me. I get money's tight, and you may not like my content, but you wanted to support me back then, just to help out a little bit. That's fine. I get that. But that was what kind of spurred me on. Like, okay, maybe Patreon can be a way for me to keep the channel afloat and buy new things, like new handhelds, new equipment, new stuff like that. And my goal was to get like a ton of support on there, so I could get like better camera equipment, better lighting, a green screen eventually, stuff like that, and like a better computer, and just better setup stuff. And that's still my goal. Like, that's what I would want from Patreon. But the problem now is that the more I think about setup issues, the more setup issues here where I'm currently set up prop up. Because I honestly, to be properly set up, I would need to be upstairs, in the upstairs, like one of the upstairs bedrooms, probably the biggest one. But that's not gonna happen, because that, to get the stairs modified, would be an insane amount of money. We'd probably have to do another GoFundMe, all that jazz. So that's why I don't really push the Patreon down people's throats, because I don't want to be that guy that says like, oh, if you support me on Patreon, I'll be able to keep my lights on for like another day. I don't want to do that. But suffice to say, when I found out what Patreon was, I didn't know it could be a huge component to what the channel is, and still is. And when I found that out, I was like, okay, cool. It's cool that people want to support me. But then nothing was ever changing with the channel. Like, I wasn't getting a lot of views and stuff like that. And it was just really discouraging. And then out of the blue, Dylan Anderson cropped up and did that short video on me. And then my channel really blew up to kind of where it is today. But overnight, I got like 68,000 subscribers. So I went from like 10,000 subscribers to like 65,000 subs overnight, and got remonetized that same, like that next morning. I was remonetized because I resubmitted my monetization application, and YouTube let me back in. Because if you guys don't know how monetization works, you have to have 1,000 subs, you have to have 4,000 watch time hours, and in the year, and you have to keep doing that to keep your monetization. And for a while, my channel was doing pretty good for like the first couple weeks after Dylan Anderson. And I know before I continue, I'm not holding any ill will towards him. I do appreciate what he did for my channel. It did help out very briefly. It was a nice gesture, and it did help out a little bit. But the problem is when he did that short video, that's the kind of people that watched that video is short form content viewers. You guys know me. I don't really do shorts that often. And when I do, they're usually just showing off a piece of my collection or something like that. But I'm not a big proponent of shorts. They're not for me. They're not my kind of content that I enjoy making and or enjoy watching. So I don't really focus on that kind of content. I think people realize that, and that's why still to this day I'm getting mass unsubscribed to, because people are realizing like, oh, I forgot to subscribe to this dude after Dylan Anderson recommended me to subscribe to for people. So that inherently, when I started to notice the drop off in subs in like the hundreds every month, that's what kind of made me get to the dark place that I was at fairly recently. Where I literally just had a breakdown one day, and I was like, well, my first breakdown was with my wife. We were on our way to a convention or something. We were going somewhere, and I just broke down sobbing in the car. I was like, I can't do this anymore. It's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, I can't do YouTube anymore. It's not fun anymore for me. It's not really going anywhere. I'm never gonna make it a job. It's never gonna be anything that'll like lead to anything. She's like, so if you like doing it just to do it, then do it just to do it. Don't worry about the money aspect. And I'm like, it's hard not to when I see you busting your ass every day, just working your butt off, and me just sitting here not doing anything with my life and just doing YouTube, just and getting maybe 100 views on a video. It just didn't seem like I was making a difference to anybody in my mind. And she's like, well, if that's what you want to do, I'll support you, but I don't think you should quit. I think you should keep doing it because you never know what's going to happen with this. And I'm like, so you think I should still do it? And she's like, yeah, I really do. I'm like, all right, I'll do it for another few months or like a year or two, is what I would always tell myself. And then like about a month ago, it was around there. I think about a month ago. I had the same kind of breakdown with my dad this time, and I've never actually like broken down in front of my dad, just talking about YouTube and my life and my cerebral palsy and all my limitations and just everything compounding on me over the years. And he was like, how long have you been holding this in? And I'm like, a long time. Ever since the GoFundMe, I've always felt like people stopped caring about what I was doing. And Dylan Anderson, after that hype died down, in my mind, that just solidified people stopped caring about my channel. And my dad was like, well, you were never like super successful at it, so like, why does it bother you now? I'm like, Dad, you don't get it. I have like 70,000 subscribers, and I'm only getting like maybe 100 views, sometimes less than that, no matter what video I put up. And he's like, is it really that bad? I'm like, yes, it's really that bad. And I'm losing hundreds of subscribers a month. And he's like, well, what can you do to fix it and make it better? And I'm like, there's really nothing I can physically do, because the stuff we need to do, or I need to do, would be hard for me to do being disabled. Like getting a better setup and having a proper studio room or like just a studio setup. It's not feasible for me. I wish it was. Guys, there's days, even still today, I wish that I wasn't disabled and had cerebral palsy. Trust me. There's days I wake up and I'm like, God, it just sucks having this disability. But then I always go back and be like, I could have it a lot worse, because I could have been a lot worse. My cerebral palsy could have been to the point where I couldn't even move my head or my arms, or barely speak. Basically, a vegetable is how I was supposed to be, but I wasn't. And I'm not trying to get philosophical or religious here, but I honestly feel like there has to be a reason why I I was the way I turned out to be. And I honestly think, looking back on it now, after talking to my dad, just like bawling my ass out, like literally, guys, I was bawling my eyes out, like, and my dad was like cradling me in his arms, like I was like an infant. It was bizarre, because I was just like inconsolably sobbing about it, because I just felt lost, like I didn't know what I was doing with my life. I I still kind of feel that way, but I'm feeling better about it now that I've kind of rebranded myself as Rolling with Kevin. But I also feel like I could be doing more and doing better. But I've got to remember about my own limitations. And if things are going to happen, they would have already happened. I'm just going to do this for fun at this point, because I'm still having fun with it. If there's ever a day that I'm not having fun with it, or like I just get sick of it, I'm just going to flat out tell you guys, like, look, I'm done. I've had a good run. Like 16 years, 17 years is good enough. Whatever. I'm done. Bye. And that would be it. But I've been doing it this long, for 15 years. And maybe I'm not the biggest person on the platform. Maybe I'm not Mr. Beast or Penguin Z0 or PewDiePie or anybody like that. But maybe I've made an impact on somebody somewhere, or making an impact on somebody somewhere, making someone's day better somewhere, sometime, some way. I'm making someone feel better about themselves, feel better about their day, relax after they get home from work, whatever it might be. If that's what my videos do for people, some people, then that's good enough for me. And honestly, guys, if I'm being real with you guys for a second, I honestly wouldn't be doing this if it wasn't for my wife, because she's the one that's helped me set things up, film things for many years. So you and I all have her to thank for the continued support of me doing this weird channel that I've been doing for 15 years. And it's been a hell of a journey, guys. Like, it really has been. And I don't see it ending anytime soon. But I will say this. I have really enjoyed every second on YouTube, and I am eternally grateful for everyone that has supported me over the years, whether it be the GoFundMe, whether it be my Patreon, however you've supported me, liking my videos, subscribing, clicking the bell button, whatever. It means the world to me, guys. And I'm not being fake or disingenuous with that. It really does mean a lot to me, because this is the way I want to express myself. And I feel like this is the best way I can, is to put myself in front of this webcam and just talk to you guys about things from my perspective. Because I'm not super comfortable in front of a camera, guys. I don't know if you guys have noticed that, but you probably have. I'm not very comfortable in front of a camera. I trail off a lot and stuff like that. But I try to hone it in as best I can. But if you had told me 15 years ago that I would have been doing this and sitting in front of a camera and just talking to people around the world and making videos for 15 years and meeting someone that would be willing to help me and take care of me for just about as long, if not longer than that, meaning my wife, I would have called you nuts. Like, I've been extremely fortunate to meet celebrities because of my wife, to go to conventions because of my wife. Like, all this right now is because of her and my parents and just people being supportive of me and what I'm trying to do here and what the life I'm trying to live, which I've been living a pretty good life for the past 34, almost 35 years. And I think it's all led to this moment right here. Like me just opening up to you guys and talking about this because I feel like this is going to help someone out there that might be struggling with something, and B, help me out and gauge for me how much support I actually have from the YouTube community and you guys. Because at the end of the day, it's all the YouTube algorithm's fault that my channel isn't where it is today or where it should be today. And to be fair, I'm not the most super active, punctual person when it comes to upload schedules and stuff like that. I've been trying to do a video every day, but that's really hard, guys. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, it's rough trying to think of video ideas every day to do because some days there's just not a lot to talk about, and that's why I've done like random videos of me just talking about childhood memories or therapy or the wheelchair I go out in or whatever. That's why I do random videos like that, and they seem to do pretty well. So I'm grateful for that. So thank you guys for watching those videos. But I need to be better about how I structure my videos and how I carry myself in videos. So I'm gonna try to be better about that within this next like 6 months to a year because I want to see where this rebrand goes in like a year, 2 years time, and then go from there. If I see it's kind of working out and I'm still enjoying it after that time, then I'll keep doing it. If if I feel like I'm getting burnt out by that time and like nothing's really popping off or like my sub count is still dropping like flies, then I think that'll be the time that I seriously consider stepping away from YouTube. And I know people have told me in the past, like, if you want to ever quit YouTube, just do it. We don't care. We understand. And I'm glad you guys understand that, but I feel like there's so much more that I could do here if I could just find the right avenue to like put myself. And then maybe this could turn into something bigger for me and my wife, and maybe we could travel around the country and go to conventions as guests and meet a ton of you guys. Maybe something like that would happen. That would be, that's honestly my goal, is to get invited to places like Too Many Games, like SoCal Gaming Expo, PRGE, just any gaming convention out there. I would love to be invited to. as a content creator, but I have to do the work. And for 15 years, I've been trying to do the work as hard as I can. Really haven't gotten anywhere with it yet, but I think rolling with Kevin, I think this might be what works. I just have to find that one thing, that one missing piece of the YouTube puzzle that I'm missing, and then the skies will be the limit for my channel. But to end this video off on a really positive note, guys, again, 15 years is a long time to do anything, let alone YouTube, whatever kind of job you may be doing. If you love that job or you hate that job or whatever you're doing, and you want to make a change and do something different, and you feel like you're just spinning your wheels and not really getting anywhere, try new things. Don't be afraid to try new things. Don't be like me and not put yourself out there to stick your neck out and just pigeonhole yourself into one thing. I feel like YouTube could have been that thing for me at one point if I would have done what I'm doing now. But now I'm going to have to work doubly as hard to do it. I'm here for it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do this as long as it takes for me to get recognized by YouTube's algorithm and just recognized enough to where conventions would want to invite my wife and I to come meet some of you guys. Because you guys are the reason why I do this. You guys are the reason why I still do this and why I owe you guys a lot. You guys saved me and my family from the darkest point in our lives. And for the past like 7-8 years, I've been trying to do my best to prove to you guys how thankful I am. And I feel like I've failed in a lot of respects, but I feel like these 15 years have culminated in this moment right here with Rolling with Kevin in this video. Because I've always wanted to make a video like this, just chronicalizing my channel and kind of my life in a way. Because I'll tell you guys right now, like, YouTube was the furthest thing from my mind in doing a channel for this long. Never in a million years would I thought I would have been doing it for 15 years. Let alone be married with a wife and actually be happy and be in a good place. Because before I met my wife, guys, my life, it was good, but I was pretty depressed, honestly, for a long time. And I never told anybody this. This is the first time I'm ever really talking about this being this candid. But I just didn't think I was worth anything. Like, I was like, what is the point of me being here? And I never told my parents I felt like this for years and years. Because all the relationships I had with girls and crushes and stuff like that never led to anything because they were all being phony and fake because of my disability and just felt sorry for me. And I knew they weren't the right one for me. But then my wife came along and we've been together ever since that first day she poked me in sophomore year English class and scared the crap out of me. But we've been together ever since, technically. We were always friends for the longest time. We never made it official until like our junior year of high school, I think. And then eventually we got married. And I'm going to tell you guys right now, like, don't ever think that you're never going to amount to anything. Like, you will amount to something in life. Something will make itself known to you, and you'll be like, okay, that's that's what my purpose is. That's what I'm here to do. That's why I was put here. Because that's what I feel like. I feel like fate put my wife and I together. Fate, time, God, whatever you want to say it is. For me, honestly, I think it was a mix of like fate, time, and God all mixed together. Just bringing in that one moment in time where we were in the same class together. And I don't know why she came up to me. I don't know what made her do it. I have no idea. But I'm telling you what, guys, like, you meet some people in your life that they change your life and the way you perceive your life forever. And my wife has done that for me in spades, and way more than anyone ever has in my time on this planet. So my wife deserves a lot of props for everything she's done for me over the years, all the conventions she's driven me to, even though there's probably some that she hasn't wanted to go on. I know there has to have been some, but she's a good sport about a lot of it. She seems to really enjoy it. No matter what con we go to, she seems to enjoy herself. Other than the one that happened yesterday where she broke her foot or fractured her foot, whatever. But that's for another story. If you guys want to hear that story, I'll post that in community post later today. But yeah, I've just been super fortunate to just travel around the U.S. with my wife, a couple states, Pennsylvania, North Carolina, West Virginia, Tennessee. Like, I wouldn't want to do anything with anybody else but her. And I know I'm gushing on my wife at the last part of this video, but I'm telling you guys, like, she changed the way that I view my existence as a person. Like, she actually makes me feel like a complete human now. I never felt whole ever. I always felt like something was missing from my life. Even when I was a kid, like how dependent I was on my parents and stuff like that. I just didn't really like the fact that I was super dependent on them all the time. But then as I got into high school and older and depended on them less and less for like going to the bathroom and stuff like that. Well, besides number two, of course, but I was more independent the older I got. And then that made me feel more alone and isolated because I didn't need them as much as I used to. Because the room got built downstairs. But that's when my wife came along in high school, and I was like, I can't let this person out of my life. And I didn't. She almost moved to Florida with her grandma. And I sat down with her grandma and told her, I'm like, I don't care what you do, but you're not taking her to Florida. And she's like, well, what do you mean? I'm like, I'll figure out some way for her to move in with me. And she's like, yeah, that's not going to happen. Your parents won't say yes. But I sat down with them. I'm like, look.
I missed something. Can you say it again?
Hush. Stupid echo. I don't know why the hell that went off. Anyway. But I sat my parents down. I was like, look. I don't want to. Her grandma's wanting to move down to Florida. And they're taking her with them. And I don't want her to go. And they're like, then what are you saying? And I'm like, I kind of want her to move in here. And they were like, are you sure that's what you want? And I'm like, yeah, what kind of dumb freaking question is that? Yeah, of course that's what I want. And they're like, well, can you make it work with being downstairs with your brother? I'm like, he won't care. So I asked my brother, I don't remember what he said, but I know he didn't give a shit. He was just like, whatever. Like, he didn't care. So she moved in. She's been moved in for probably like, I don't know, 10, 11, 12 years. Maybe longer than that. I have no idea. I honestly don't know. But she has literally changed my life for the better. And if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be doing this video or doing YouTube right now. So give my wife massive props in the comments and show her some love. Her name is Stephanie, if you guys don't know. Or Steph. You can call her Steph. That's what I call her. Or you can call her like Mrs. Kevin. I don't care what you call her. But she deserves props with all the support she's given me over the years and just the amount of love and support I've gotten from her and from my entire family for the past 15 years and the past like 34, 35 years of my life with my parents. My parents are super supportive of this venture on YouTube as well. They'll support me no matter what I do. So my parents and my wife deserve major props for the man I am today and the content creator I'm hoping I can turn out to be for you guys on Rolling with Kevin. So to end this video off, guys, I just want to say thank you guys for 15 years of laughter, pain, sadness, all the mixed emotions that come with life. You guys were there for a lot of it. You guys helped me through some dark times. And I really appreciate all the support and love I've gotten over the years. And here's to 15 more. And maybe on Sunday I'll do a quick live stream with like a Q&A session with my wife and I. I'll just see if she's up for it since her foot got fractured. She should be okay though. But I'll let you guys know in the community post. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed this long video about me just talking about YouTube in the 15 years I've been doing it. But yeah, I've enjoyed it for these last 15 years. And hopefully I can do it for like 15 more. If YouTube's here around that long, who knows? Anyway, guys, that'll do it for me. This has been Rolling with Kevin, and I am rolling out. Peace.